How about that?
Well, hello. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show. At least that's what I hear from everybody. We got a lot to get to today. Scruffy's going to be with us in mere moments. Consider yourself suitably warned. And coming up in hour two, I promise, Jamie Thomas from Winnipeg Jets TV and the Ground Crew podcast. Yeah, we're here on the Game Plus Television Network, Canada-wide and 32 U.S. states. Back home here in South Florida, Mitchell is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, and we're ready to talk sports for the next 2 hours. Mitch is here for 40 minutes of it. Hey, Mitch, how are you, my friend? What's new? What's popping?
I am good. I see you are back in FLA.
Yes.
I didn't know where you were. I was actually going to send you a message this morning saying let's meet for coffee today, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
If you can get to Florida, brother, I would love to have coffee with you today. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, by the way.
I don't think that's going to happen. So,
well, I will say this. We'll get down to business and the serious sports talk. Obviously, we're different than every other show. We say that every day. But I will tell you this. I was flying home yesterday, and I was going through customs in Denver, and I was hoping to not get this one agent who is a George Cortez clone. He always wants to talk football and tell me how much better American football is about Canadian football. Thankfully, I didn't get him. But there was three farmers behind me. They were on their way from southern Saskatchewan to Tampa Bay. So we were going on separate flights. And they said, hey, we love your show. We love your show. But sometimes it's a bit of a problem because it's up against overdrive. You know, so it kind of depends on what you guys are talking about. And I said, well, largely, we won't be talking Toronto sports, and they will. And they're like, oh, exactly. So the second we get tired of Toronto sports, we flip over to you and vice versa. I'm okay. I feel like you have something to say about that.
Speaking of people that listen, Roddy,
yeah,
I ran into former Global Regina sportscaster, the iconic Bob Krawchuk, last week.
They let him back in the country?
And he watches us every morning.
Oh,
He said,
good.
I just finished seeing you on TV. So
I love it. Okay.
Bob Krawchuk.
Hello, Numpty.
And I know you guys have stories.
He was my roommate. He's the original Numpty, and we won't go any further than that. Okay. It's the Quick Six Show topics. It's what we do. Ta-da. Did I mention Jamie Thomas coming up in hour two? Because there's a lot of interesting things coming out of Winnipeg. But Mitchell, the big story, as far as I'm concerned, on both sides of the border, is football. And I'm just going to talk about the Week 14 Sunday nighter amongst all the games. Your Seahawks won. I feel like you're getting used to that. That's probably not a shock for you, especially with them going into Atlanta. But C.J. Stroud threw for 203 yards and a touchdown. The Texans leaned on the NFL's top-ranked D to shut down Patrick Mahomes, and Houston came away with a 20-10 victory over the Chiefs last night. Now, I feel like we all watched the game. It was 10-10 in the fourth quarter. It was a hell of a football game. But did you know, you must have known, statistically, that was Patrick Mahomes' worst game as a pro last night. They completely befuddled him, had him figured out. What were your thoughts on that game before we move on to all the others?
A lot of people going in thought the Houston Texans would win that game because of their defense. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Kansas City's O-line was decimated, and then they lost another guy, and I think it was the first or second play. But Kansas City came out in the second half, made a game of it, but they just couldn't get it going offensively. The defense was there, but, you know, Rashee Rice with a terrible drop. Travis Kelce, you can say what you want on that third interception that Mahomes threw, but let's be honest. Patrick Mahomes was not at his best last night. He was throwing behind receivers, and the talk about the Kansas City Chiefs being dead, I think you can start writing the obit. Sorry, Chris Collinsworth. Sorry, Mike Tirico. But I think you can start writing the Chiefs obit. And how bad were those two last night?
I don't have the sound up when I watch the games. So I'm going to stop you right there. We can come back on it. But I just want to tell everybody the poll question here today for EMJ Marketing is the Chiefs dynasty over? And to be honest, I felt when they lost in the Super Bowl last year that it was indeed over. I felt that last year, but the majority of our respondents were saying, no, it's not over. Actually, I said, will they be back to the Super Bowl? And the majority of people said, yeah, they will be. Well, the poll question today is the Chiefs dynasty over? And 87% of respondents are saying yes, that it is, Mitchell, that it's over. I want to move on, if you don't mind, to the next point.
Yep.
Just because we go fast here. NHL, Valerie Nichushkin scored the eventual game winner early in the second period. Nathan McKinnon had a helper to add to his NHL leading points total, and the Avalanche hung on for a 3-2 win over the Philly Flyers Sunday. Jacob Dobish made 14 saves in his second start in 24 hours as the Montreal Canadiens lost to the Blues 4-3. That was part of Sunday's slate. And Saturday, the NHL announced that the Winnipeg Jets and Montreal Canadiens are taking it outdoors next season. The NHL announcing the teams will face off in the 2026 Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic at Winnipeg's Princess Auto Stadium. I felt like, I love it. I felt like that kind of came out of nowhere. They weren't teasing any big announcement about a Heritage Classic and stuff, or did I don't feel like I missed anything.
You missed a little bit because somebody prematurely broke that earlier in the week, that the Habs were going to play the Jets. And people were sort of mocking, well, I guess we know when the Bombers have a bye week, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it got taken down and put back up. So I don't know what happened there, but somebody opened up the box before it was supposed to be opened.
So who was it that
Much
tweeted
like
it?
somebody a few years ago when they said that Winnipeg and Calgary were playing at Mosaic, and that person got some heat for that. But oh well.
Well, who was this person last week?
I think you're talking to him.
Oh, you. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, listen, we can get into this a little later. This is the one it's not a bad thing at all, but like Saturday, I was speaking at an event in Lanigan, Saskatchewan, with Saskatchewan Roughriders offensive coordinator Mark Mueller and alum and broadcaster Luke Mullender. And when you're driving there, hosting the event, driving home, which didn't go entirely, you miss out on everything because you're working, you're driving, you're not on your phone. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That's why I do these things very sparingly, because I love doing them. But traveling, especially in the winter, is a pain in the butt. So we're just
on a
scratching
single
the
lane
surface.
highway.
Yeah, tell me about it. We're brought to you in part by Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I stopped in last week to see them. Too busy to talk. They're so busy at Pump Jacks. That's a good thing. We'll continue this merry way. We got CFL notes, college football notes, a little NBA. Scruffy can talk about it all. 902-518-3033. The text line is open for Western Dodge, and we will be right back after this first break here on the Game Plus Television Network podcast, YouTube Live, and Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Just pay attention, producer. Listen up for the next 2 minutes, Corey. I'm going to get you, producer Corey. Scruffy's with me. You want to know how this show is different? Just hang on. Here's Carlos in Indianapolis writing in about the Chiefs and their 6 wins, which incidentally is the same as the Dolphins. Carlos in Indianapolis says the Chiefs are missing the playoffs. It's a common occurrence for teams that lose the Super Bowl the season before. Not for the Chiefs, it ain't. And from the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033, Bob in Medicine Hat writes in, and he says, good morning, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Always interested in your great show. Formerly from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. A true season ticket holder of the Saskatchewan Roughriders for 18 years now. Thank you, Bob. Glad to have you. The text line's full, but Scruffy's time is with us. Mitch, you dropped a bomb that I didn't even know. So you broke the story of the Heritage Classic back in 2019? Flames and Jets. Okay, tell me about that. And then last week you tweeted it again and got hell for that? Explain.
No. In 2019, I was the first to say that there was going to be an outdoor game at Mosaic Stadium. I said that now the original one that I had was that it was supposed to be the Jets and the Oilers. That was the original. My source, who was a very good source, said, no, it's the Jets and the Flames, and he sent me the paperwork. Sent me a copy of the paperwork. So I went on and said it was the Jets and the Flames. And, of course, because the place where we used to work, you can't do that type of stuff. Well, I had all the information. And then I got a hold of Real to say, so what's going on? Like, what are we doing here? Because it's going to be January 1st when they're going to announce this. Well, we don't know anything about this. And on January 1st at 9 a.m., I got a phone call saying, we're doing something this afternoon. And when I got down there, it was icy cold inside the AGT lounge because people were not impressed with the fact that I had broken that story a couple of days earlier. So.
Right. So, but then somebody did it last week with the Jets and the Habs playing in Winnipeg?
I don't know where it came out from. I just saw a piece from, it was like a national, it might have been Yahoo Sports that said the Jets and the Canadians are going to play at Princess Auto Stadium. And then there was like a couple of retweets. And then about 3 or 4 hours later, that tweet had exited. Ad had the story on, I'm sure it was Yahoo Sports. Don't quote me on that. And then, as I said, it came up again on Saturday. So
okay, well, so another reason why the fans, they're not paying attention, and it's not their fault. it's not their world, but it's me and Mitchell's world and the world that we live in, i.e. you don't see me breaking much news at all anymore because I don't need the fight, and I damn sure aren't breaking news about the Florida Panthers or the Lightning or the NFL because that's where I live. I don't need to piss them off. And as far as the CFL goes, that bridge is still in flames. So I don't really care. But we can't report the news without fear of being, nailed to the wall, and I'm just not interested in doing that anymore. People are up my butt, CFL fans, about what's this going on with Cody Fajardo and contract talks. I said, hey, out of respect for Cody, I'm not reporting anything. He and I have talked, and I'm not going to say anything. It's a different time. It's a different era, and I don't like it. I mean, but the fans get upset, and they're like, you're not saying it the way they are. I'm saying it as much as I can. Okay, but I don't need to piss off the leagues and the teams.
Yep.
And you live in that world too. It's never used to be that way, but it's the way it is now.
Grey Cup week.
Yeah.
I heard during Grey Cup week from someone in Toronto who's given me some pretty good information before that said that Mike O'Shea was going to be named the coach of the Argonauts on the Monday or Tuesday after Grey Cup. So I put something out. 6 hours later, the Bombers announce O'Shea, and everybody gets on my case. Well, sorry, that was the information I had.
I was going to say your source was talking out their ass. There's a difference.
Well, on this one he was.
Right. So I'm just saying there's a difference between breaking the news that is true versus hearsay. That's two totally different things. But anyways, back on point, if there is a point, and I'm bringing in the viewer comments earlier than normal here because they're fun. Brian is watching in Winnipeg. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line 902-518-3033. He says, Shedeur with a big game. Mel Kiper sighting. We have a running thing here, Mitch. It predates you coming on the show, but I just said, Mel, the meltdown, Mel putting the Mel and meltdown on draft day or draft Saturday. Shedeur's looking like a quarterback, even though they lost.
He's not. He's not. He played
is.
Tennessee and the Raiders. Come on, Roddy.
I think you can tell whether a guy's got it or not, and clearly Cleveland feels that he does. You saying that he'll never be an NFL regular? I'm not saying he's going to be a star.
He will not be a regular starting quarterback. In fact, I looked at an NFL mock draft today, and the Cleveland Browns are going to take another quarterback. So that tells you what they think of Shedeur Sanders. And it probably also tells you what they think of Dylan Gabriel.
Well, no.
And here's the other thing. Deshaun Watson is ready to practice again with Cleveland. They can't get rid of that POS. And he's probably going to be their starting quarterback next year.
Let's just remember that all the mock drafts, including Mel Kiper's, had Shedeur Sanders going top 3. So I don't put any energy nor stock into mock drafts at all. I get, like I said, sorry to say there's no Santa Claus, folks, but I told you. By the way, does your message stand out at Outlaw Communications? We make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. The viewers want to know if you have your Western Canadian Baseball League championship ring nearby that the Red Sox gave you. Do you happen to have it nearby you?
Are we taking a break here right away?
We will.
Before I come back?
Yeah,
okay,
they want to
I'll
see
get
it
during the break.
Okay, they want to see it. Okay. Well, so again, for those that have joined us late, because there are many, Bill Edwards has just joined us, the Argos and Rider fan. Ryan has checked in from upstate New York. I'm back in Florida. Scruffy's in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, Saskatchewan. And I'll say this again, I ran into 3 farmers in the Denver airport, which I made my connection, which was great. I hope they did too. They were going golfing for 10 days in the Tampa area. And they said, hey, we love your show. We watch it every day, but it's up against Overdrive. So they're like, we watch whatever if we're interested in what you're talking about. And I said, well, guaranteed they're not going to be talking about the CFL ever, except for pretty much Grey Cup week on Overdrive. And we haven't really talked about it here today either. But speaking of Toronto, here's where the shows will be the same. Leafs and Tampa tonight, Mitch. How's that going to go, do you think? How do you think that's going to go? That's the game of the night, and it's on Amazon Prime.
You know what? That's an interesting one, because when you take a look at the Tampa Bay Lightning roster right now, there are some guys that you go, who are these guys? And then you take a look at the Leafs, who maybe might want to go out and see if David Ayres is available. because they've had so many injury problems in goal, and I'm assuming that Hildeby goes again tonight. Like Toronto, they started to show some signs that maybe they're coming back, and then Joseph Wall gets hurt, and how long is he out for? I don't know. But are they going to put the onus of this season on Dennis Hildeby? Because if they do, they're taking a pretty big chance, much like the Winnipeg Jets with Connor Hellebuck. And that hasn't worked very well with Comrie and Milic.
Yeah. Well, hey, I by the way, I'm listening to you. I'm just getting the sports update ready here, and yeah, that's as far as on the Leafs that I want to go. I do know that we have a lot of Toronto viewers and a lot of Leaf fans. I get it, but they get inundated with the Leaf talk. Here's another one for you. I'm so far off the road of my quick six show topics, and I blame you, Mitch, for that,
Thanks.
even though you have nothing to do with it. But I guess Andy Reid was bringing up analytics last night after the game. And I'm wondering where you stand on analytics in football, I feel like, or sports for that matter. And we could do hours. Yeah, so do I. So and it feels like baseball is way worse, but also some football coaches are coaching their teams based on analytics. Some baseball teams are managing their teams, both generally managing and from the dugout on analytics. They're not really in hockey. But I just want to know where you are on analytics, because it's so friggin' annoying to me. It really is.
I hate analytics because there are times, Roddy, when a coach, a manager, whatever, has to go with his gut feeling. And if you want to take for prime proof of that, let's go back to the Western Final. Corey Mace decides on a third down play late in the football game that he would rather kick a field goal and hope that his defense can get the ball back, which they did, allowing them to get the winning touchdown. But analytics would have said, you go for it on third down. Had they gone for it on third down, and we'll never know what type of play Mark Mueller would have called, and if it would have been executed properly, if there would have been a flag or whatever. But if they run that play and it goes incomplete or something else happens, Corey Mace probably gets skewered. Corey Mace went with his gut feeling. He had a chance of getting skewered if the Riders don't get the ball back, but everything went the way it was supposed to, because Corey Mace, with his gut, felt that his defense could get the ball back.
Right.
And they did.
Well, so let me go a little further down that road. 2 Saturdays ago, I was with Corey Mace, and I got the answer for why he did that. 2 nights ago, I was with Mark Mueller, his offensive coordinator, who reiterated why Corey Mace did that. So here's the whole point in all of this, Mitch. Mike Florio was talking about it this morning on NBC Sports Radio and ProFootballTalk.com, where this is what the fans don't know, but the sports people do. Coaches like Corey Mace go with the gut. He's got the championship. He'll be very successful for a very long time. But a lot of coaches do not. And the Riders are a little different because they're community-owned compared to a privately owned team in any league. But what Florio was explaining, which, by the way, I know, there's 18 guys in, golf shirts and Dockers that are the owner's little errand boys. And then there's the coach. And those little errand boys are in the owner's head going, here's the numbers. Here's what the coach should do. And when it doesn't work, when guys put their balls on the line and they get their balls stepped on, the owner brings them in and said, why did you do this? Because the analytics are saying you should have done this. That's where sports are right now. You know what I mean? And you better have a very well. It's what it is. And I'll go one step further. We're going to be up against the break here pretty soon, and I should tell this story later on when it's just me. But do you remember Jim Bizdell, the legendary, the Buzzard, St. Louis Blues and Calgary Flames scout? He's going into that Western Canadian Pro Hockey Scouts Hall of Fame next summer.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
He was one of my dad's best friends, to the degree that we were sitting on my dad's bed in the Wascana Rehab Hospital when my dad was going through some physical issues. And Bizdell goes, "You're buddies with that Arizona GM, huh? John Chayka?" I said, "Well, I know him. I don't know that I'm buddies with him or whatever. I'm buddies with the owner." He goes, "Well, he's into numbers." I said, "What about it?" "I've never seen numbers win a hockey game. Line the numbers up on the blue line and see how they do against actual players." I'm like, hey, I don't want to defend the guy. But I mean, with all due apologies to John Chayka, where's John Chayka now? Like the Arizona Coyotes were going to revolutionize the NHL with a numbers guy. And it didn't work, right? So, yeah, there's...
Again, I just brought up the football analogy. Let's take a look at baseball and how the World Series played itself out. Their analytics played a huge part in the World Series. But it worked for the Dodgers. It didn't work for the Blue Jays. Dave Roberts had a gut feeling to keep Miguel Rojas into the ball game, and how did that turn out?
Right. Well, and Greg Zahn was on this show not that long ago basically saying, he goes, I don't really think John Schneider's actually managing the ball team. And I knew what he meant, right? Mm-hmm. But, but he was, Johnny doesn't want to say too much. So anyways, we'll continue this and get back on track. I hope everybody's enjoying the discussion as much as we are. But if you're not, that's okay. Me and Scruffy are. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network. Go get your ring. Don't forget it.
I will.
And also YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio. We'll be back in a moment. And don't forget to get your text comments in. There's a lot there. 902-518-3033 for Western Dodge. We'll be right back in a moment.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, the RP Show continues, brought to you in part, I think I'd have this ready, by the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. They do our junior hockey report. I was in Moose Jaw and at the Warriors game on Friday night and had a great time. Thanks for everybody who said hello. And thanks to those who stopped in at the Mad Greek Eatery before or after the game for legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late-night bites. It's the Mad Greek Eatery. Hey, Mitch, there you go. You got your ring? The viewers want to see your ring. You got your ring? Did you get it? I can't see it. Put it in front of the camera.
I'm trying to do here.
Can you take it off and, hold it up? People can't see it at all. Oh, my God. You need some help here, dude.
Where are we here? Good. I'm trying to
go to Mitch's social media. There you go.
There we go.
Mitchell, put it right in front of your nose. Put it right in front of your nose. Okay, put it right in front of your nose.
There we go.
And just put a little towards. Oh my God, that is Mitchell's championship. Forget it, from the Western Canadian Baseball League and the Regina Red Sox. That didn't go with. Yeah, that didn't go as well as I thought. But thank you to the Red Sox for giving Scruffy a ring and his staff. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's move on then. At least you saw it, everybody. We have a lot of topics on the table. This is we're very different from Overdrive, that's for sure. But let me get to the college football playoff. I'll be spending more time on this in hour two, but the bracket was announced on Sunday. First round matchups in college football. Oklahoma versus Alabama, Oregon versus James Madison, Miami versus Texas A&M, and Ole Miss versus Tulane. Receiving first round byes, Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. Mitch, what's more notable, that or more newsworthy, or the fact that Notre Dame was snubbed and they said we're not going to play in a bowl game? We're moving on to next year.
Notre Dame needs to stop crying. I'm so tired of Notre Dame. We have heard about this since they lost to Texas A&M and went to 0-2. You didn't play anybody of substance. And the two teams that you did play that were tough teams, you lost to both of them. And when it's head-to-head, I don't know of any place where they go, oh, yeah, you lost to them in head-to-head, but we're still going to put you in even though you have the same record. Grow up, Notre Dame. Seriously, grow up. Here's an idea, Notre Dame. Get a conference that you want to play in and quit playing cupcakes. And now this crap comes out about they signed an agreement that says, oh, if you're in the top 12, you're going to get in? What a load of crap that is. Because if I'm Alabama and I'm Georgia and I'm Michigan, I'm asking for the same thing. And then what does that mean? Well, we're going to get the same 12 teams in the playoff every year. Grow up, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well,
I'm tired of them.
Well, we're going to be watching the college football playoff regardless. I won't be going to the national championship, or at least that's not my plan. It'll be played here in Miami Gardens, but we'll see. I have no idea who's going to be in it. But when you say grow up, Notre Dame and all, it's funny. I'm not going to go any further than this. We'll talk about it when we have the more U.S. audience in hour two. But do you see Canadians following college football a little more than they did? Saturday night, I was sitting, as you know, in Lanigan, Saskatchewan. It was a packed room. It was a packed room full of CFL fans and Rider fans, and it was a Rough Riders themed event. It was amazing. But I'm sitting there explaining to them what a big day Sunday was going to be with Selection Sunday announcing the bracket. And they're like, this is some farmers, and they're like, explain it to me. So a committee picks who gets in? I'm like, yeah. Well, that's kind of screwed up. I'm like, well, that's the way, Mitch, it always has been. My God, if they could have found another way to do it, they would have done it by now. But back to my original question. Are you seeing more Canadians following college? These guys weren't, but that shouldn't surprise you in Saskatchewan at a Rough Riders event, right?
I see a lot of younger people following the NCAA, Ronnie. In
Football,
fact, I know of some people that they would rather stay at home, or, if there's a Rider game on, they would rather stay at home to watch an SEC or a Big Ten game. And of course, you get those, on ABC and NBC. I know one guy, his son didn't go to a Rider game with him, was it this year or last year? Because Ohio State was playing Oregon. Because he was more interested in Ohio State and Oregon than the Rider game. And that, Roddy, That's not good for the CFL. And
No, yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
funny
well,
because somebody was
Mm-hmm.
well, somebody was talking this weekend about soccer and MLS, and they're getting great crowds at Whitecaps games, and they're getting great crowds at Toronto FC games, and the Montreal team, and I forget what they're called.
Impact.
So why isn't that translating to CFL?
Or at least they were called the Impact.
I think if you do a deep dive into that, you can find out, and it goes right to the CFL. Not marketing themselves properly to those that aren't Canadian.
Let me read a couple messages from the audience. I'm telling you, that as we move ahead, I said you're going to be hearing more of college football on this show. A lot of NFL. Darren writes in from Melfort. He says, the Chiefs are done. Cowboys are done. Early Christmas present for me. But wow, the NFL is a toss-up every week. Is there really a front runner to win the Super Bowl? From Laverne in Swift Current. He says, hello, Rod. Travis Kelce sure looked old in last night's game, and the Houston Texans defense is for real. That defense is really good. And what the heck is happening to Indianapolis? They're falling apart, and their quarterback tore his Achilles. They're done. And from Kirk in Toronto, he writes in, he says, at the age of 74, I hope John Hufnagel can still bring his elite knowledge to the Argonauts, along with another great football mind in Jim Barker. Double Blue never looked so good. Pull together Scullers. So football is the topic here today in hour one. But to the NFL and your Seahawks, I didn't notice this, Mitch, until I moved to the States. The Seahawks are so under the radar. They're probably the best. Yeah. Have they always been? I feel like because I'm just around you all the time and John Ryan, so I was inundated with Seahawks. In Canada, you are. In America, you never hear about the Seahawks, and I feel like that probably suits the Seahawks just fine.
When you are living in the Pacific Northwest, nobody really pays attention to what you're doing because you're not a big market team, i.e., New York, Boston, Chicago, LA. You're sitting, is anybody paying attention to the Jacksonville Jaguars in South Florida? No. No, the Seahawks flew under the radar when they had their heyday under Pete Carroll, winning a Super Bowl and coming one play from winning a second one. And it's that way again. But, your listener there that just sent in about, is there a Super Bowl favorite? Not this year. Would you put New England and the Rams, who are the number one seeds in each conference? Would you say that's a Super Bowl matchup right now? I would.
Going into the year, absolutely not. Now, yeah, because they're playing so great. But it's also funny because I had a friend from Yellowgrass text me Sunday morning and say, hey, is Joe Burrow going to light it up in Buffalo today? I'm like, absolutely not. He did, but they ended up losing. I mean, we talk about the NHL picks have been very hard to make. The NFL one's similar. Who saw Pittsburgh going into Baltimore and winning in a must-win game, really, for the Ravens if they wanted to win the division? This is actually great, though, right?
Who saw 49 points being scored in that game? I didn't. Pittsburgh and Baltimore is usually a 16-13 game with the kicker winning it in the last play. But, yeah, every week in the NFL, you get games that defy logic. And we had some of that again this weekend.
Hey, real quickly, there are 5 games in the NHL tonight. We have 90 seconds to get them in our picks. Tampa Bay, Toronto, who wins tonight?
Tampa.
That's 2 of us. Buffalo at Calgary, who wins tonight?
Calgary.
That's 2 of us. LA Kings at Utah, who wins?
Ooh, Utah.
I'll take the Kings. Minnesota at Seattle tonight. I take Minnesota. Who you like?
Minnesota hasn't played well on this road trip, so I'm going to go Seattle.
And Detroit at Vancouver. Who do you like?
Detroit.
Me too. God, is Vancouver bad. Brent from Wellington, Florida writes in. He says, go, Pack, go. That was the game of the day. The Bears and the Packers in terms of going right down to the end. And Caleb Williams he's a freak. He's a freak. They're going to be good for a long time. Oh, now you tell me we only got 30 seconds, though. It's good. Mitch, thank you so much. Any last words? You have about 20 seconds.
No, we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. We both got Detroit. Yes, we'll see how we do with our picks. Just me the rest of the way. Jamie Thomas from the Jets in hour 2. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are coming at you on the Game Plus Television Network. It is the Canadian Hour. Hope you're enjoying it. Hour 2, U.S. topics as we go to air. Also on Game Plus TV, but across 32 states there, and the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. The text line is open, 902-518-3033. I'll tell you why I'm huffing in a second. Western Dodge. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge in Moose Jaw. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. I just spent a week there. I went around, did as many sponsor visits as I could, thanking everybody. And now you need to go support our sponsors. That would hell of a lot. I go, because it's like what I say with Scruffy. You can't control them. You sure as hell can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. Jason writes in, watching in Red Deer, and he says, Rod trying to explain to Scruffy how to show his ring on the webcam is like me trying to show my grandma how to send a photo from her phone. It's just us to the top of the hour. And Jason goes on to say, you guys think Tampa Bay will win without Vazzy? Yes. Tampa Bay is one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. Toronto is not. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. I stopped in there Saturday morning and saw Billy. Posted a photo to our social media page. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Just so you know, we talk about how things are growing around here. 1.7 million views of our Facebook page alone last month. 52% in Regina and area. 52% of 1.7 million. Thank you for not forgetting. Hockey Canada will announce the training camp roster for Canada's national junior team today. London Knights coach Dale Hunter will lead Canada's squad with his brother Mark Hunter on the management side. Camp opens this weekend at Niagara Falls with the World Junior Tournament starting Boxing Day in mini St. Paul. A couple of 8 and 4 teams will meet in the NFL Monday nighter. The LA Chargers will entertain the Philadelphia Eagles. In the NBA tonight, just 3 games, including Phoenix and Minnesota welcoming Phoenix. Raptors back in action Tuesday against New York. I got to add the Suns now to our sports updates because as I found out, the Suns are Vegas's NBA team. I didn't know. It's considered the biggest week of the baseball offseason. The winter meetings are underway. Free agent rumors and trade talks are expected to hit a higher gear with executives and agents gathering in Orlando. Bo Bichette, Kyle Tucker, and Cody Bellinger are some of the big-name free agents available. So the baseball people are going nuts. So again, the sports update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Again, I'll give a so we're through all the business stuff. Now I get to talk with you people. I should have written down some notes of what to talk about with you all, but I didn't. Because I've had a busy morning, a very busy morning. Maybe as time goes out, I'll tell you about some of the travel snafus I had Saturday. It's all on me in my vehicle in Canada. And then I come back here. I got a flat tire on my Jeep this morning as I'm driving to the gym, talking to my sponsor, Bob, and I hear this da-thump, da-thump, da-thump. I'm like, what the? Pull over. Flat tire, nail in my tire. I'm like, to be honest, I was strangely not that upset. It wasn't totally flat, just a little deflated. Hung a U-turn, went to my local tire place. They did it on the spot. I'm like, what are you going to charge me? Nothing, just tip the kid. That's a win. That was today. Welcoming all the viewers in again, 902-518-3033. John Ohm. Where's all my props? You think I would have had my gong ready? Here it is. Right in front of me. Gong. Scruffy, very entertaining today. Bravo. That's why we bring him back. There's something about being entertaining. He may not be the most politically correct, and he may not be able to figure out technology, but he's ours. Mitchell? 902-518-3033 is the text line. Chad's watching in Lethbridge, Alberta. He says, how about Elliot Friedman bringing up ice quality for the Olympics? Just looking for clickbait? For those uninitiated, which I would think most of you know who Elliot Friedman is. He is one of the top NHL insiders. Who are yours, by the way? I put Elliot in there, Darren Dreger in there, probably Pierre LeBrun. 3. Those are mine. Do people honestly think the ice will be bad at the Olympics? Sure, they royally screwed up the dimensions, but it wasn't that long ago. Some NHL rinks weren't proper dimensions either. Oh, and he says, your next poll question, do folks think the rink dimensions will play a role in who wins the gold at the Olympics? Now, at the Olympics, I just have to tell you that Chad is an ice guy. I would say he's not a nice guy, but he is. He's a nice guy, and he's an ice guy. He's a Zamboni driver. So these guys get all horny about things like ice quality, which I get. That's what he does. I don't know, Chad, did you sign up for my newsletter, which is brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash? Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. I'm sitting here going, is this a legit concern, the Olympics hockey venue? Or like you say, is it just the media drumming things up? In the case of Elliot Friedman, I believe anything Elliot says. Elliot and I worked together 25 years ago at The Score. When I left my last job, which is going on quite some time ago, 7 years ago, I ran into Elliot at the Heritage Classic. He pulled me aside. He's like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, I'm great. Just checking. That's the kind of guy Elliot Friedman is. If Elliot says it, you can pretty much believe it. I trust him. There are some that I don't feel that way in the insider's role. Obviously, you know I trust Dregs and LeBrun as well, and that's why I named them as my top three. But it's a little like the Paris Olympics. Remember when we heard the water quality was terrible and the swimmers were going to come out of the water like zombies? None of that happened, okay? So I just wonder. It's that whole, that you're right, that would be a really good poll. I think a better poll question would be, will NHLers participate at the Olympics with no problems? That would, to me, that's what I'm most interested in. Yeah, I'm with you. There's a couple of feet missing. This is like the hockey rink in Caronport back in the day that was in an old airplane hangar. Well, we played in it, the dimensions. We didn't care. I'm glad, Chad, that you bring that up, Chad from Lethbridge, because I sit around with sports guys all the time, and I have this wonderful thing in my life that I work with football players, I work with baseball players, I work with hockey players, and I love them all. But if there was ever one segment of sports athletes, it's hockey players that would go, eh. Like somebody said, they're going to show up in Torino, and get dressed in lawn chairs. It's, wow. We've done it before. That's the way hockey players would do it. Some of the baseball players wouldn't even set foot on the grounds. That's just the way they are. From the text line, 902-518 Western Dodge. Vintage Sasko writes in from Bichard. Stay out of my yard, Bichard. He says, hi, Uncle Rod and Saint Scruffy. University of Notre Dame can, quote, suck it. He says, alum Wendell Clark and Donnie Blair are rolling in their grave at this decision. I get what you're trying to do there. He's confusing Notre Dame College versus the University of Notre Dame. You actually sucked me into it. 902-518-3033. We were talking to Scruff Dog earlier about the Seahawks just going under the radar. I maybe it's because they had the Canadians on their team when they rose to prominence, John Ryan and Luke Wilson. We heard about the Seahawks all the time in Canada. Here in America, you never, ever hear about the Seahawks, and it's pretty hard to watch them play. Where I live in South Florida, you can't get any further away. But Kirk writes in from Tirana, and he says, I'm retired and may end up in the Pacific Northwest. It's beautiful. Some ex-military friends that I served with now live there. And lastly, it has the CFL, NFL football, like Southern Ontario. It's unbelievable. Tony, I got to get this in from Tony in Saskatoon. He says, good morning, Rod, and happy Monday. Any particular reason for the change of jersey behind your right shoulder? Signed, Tony from Saskatoon. Yeah, because they're playing the Leafs. Period. I don't know, were you watching all show, Tony? Those three farmers in the airport in Denver as we were going through customs and connecting, they were like, oh, yeah, you're up against Overdrive. So it's between you and Overdrive on TSN what we watch. Depends what you're talking about. But when we get tired of the Toronto talk, we switch over to you. Okay. It's to go further, which I won't say this on the U.S. portion of the show, but they're like, why do they only talk about Toronto stuff? Have you been there? For the however many million people, 8 million, I lose track of the numbers. They don't see outside the GTA. They don't see outside it, so they don't feel the need to talk about anything else but Toronto sports. And if you were there, Blue Jays, Raptors, Leafs, what more do you need? Argos? Like, hey, hello. There's a whole other country out here. Hello. Hi. They don't care. They don't care. But it's similar here to Florida. I know adult people that have never left this state. Why? Where are we going to go on a vacation to? Look around in Florida. Where are you going to go? Similar mentality, just way better weather. Jamie Thomas from Jets TV joins us coming up next hour. Can't wait for that. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
How about that? It's a brand new week, same show, same annoying host. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody, here on the Game Plus Television Network. And as we set sail on hour 2 of the program, that's picked up across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Hi there. Our guest today will be Jamie Thomas of Winnipeg Jets TV, host of the official Winnipeg Jets podcast. And the Jets are in the news here, so we're going to be talking about that. He's coming up in the second segment. We got a lot to get to on this Monday. I'm back home in Florida. I got a million stories for you. Where did I put my bell? Just want to say hi, welcome, make yourself comfortable, fill up your coffee, whatever you do. If it's Vegas, top up your drinks. Let's get down to business with a quick 6 show topics because I have a lot of things to say. We're going to open with the National Football League. I guess as we flip the calendar, I'm skipping through my notes. Let's start with Monday Night Football. Before we go back to Week 14, a pair of 8 and 4 teams will link up tonight on Monday Night Football as the Philadelphia Eagles visit the Los Angeles Chargers. Philly is atop the NFC East. The Chargers are sitting second in the AFC West, chasing the Denver Broncos. This is a delicious matchup. The Eagles, by the way, are favored by 2.5 at the Chargers, and I would take that bet. But looking back to Sunday's Week 14 action, were there some tremendous games. C.J. Stroud, this is still part of point one. C.J. Stroud threw for 203 yards and a touchdown. The Texans leaned on the NFL's top-ranked defense, shutting down Patrick Mahomes, and Houston came away with a 20-10 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. But I feel like we all watched it. I said I'm back home in Florida. I was flying home from a week in Canada, doing business up there, work, got home in time to watch the second half of the game, and it was a doozy. 10-10 for the longest time into the fourth quarter. But the Texans are rolling. They've won 5 in a row, remained a game back of the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC South. It is bizarro world. Interesting year 2025 has been, both on the field and off for all of us. But the Miami Dolphins have the same amount of wins as the Kansas City Chiefs. So it brings about the poll question today for EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. Are the Kansas City Chiefs done? I didn't need to hear this morning, but I did, from Mike Florio as I was having my run. And he's my favorite NFL reporter. I'll say it. I have a man crush on Mike Florio of NBC Sports and ProFootballTalk.com. And he was saying this morning that it was the worst statistical game of Patrick Mahomes' career. If I heard that right, and the football people, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he said 19.8 quarterback efficiency rating, 19.8, worst of his career. I didn't need to get the numbers. I watched the game. And the poll question for EMJ Marketing is, are the Chiefs done? And just so you know, 87% of respondents saying they're done. And when is the dynasty over? Not just this playoff race this year, because I think they're all going to miss the playoffs too. And Carlos in Indianapolis wrote in here earlier. He said it's not unheard of that the Super Bowl champion misses the playoffs the next year. No, but that was pre-Kansas City Chiefs. They generally don't. But I just feel the way that they got motorboated in the Super Bowl last year by the Philadelphia Eagles, I just felt like we're seeing the last of the Chiefs dynasty. And based on what we saw Sunday night in prime time, that is a fact, Jack. And as far as my Dallas Cowboys go, we discussed that on Friday. They were exposed. They got the same amount of wins as the Dolphins, too. I'm not changing teams at this stage of the game. I won't do it. I understand the fans that don't. I've encouraged you to because it's a lot less heartache. But the team where I live, South Florida, Dolphins, 6 wins. The team that I historically cheer for, the Cowboys, 6 wins. And they're both going to miss the playoffs. I expected they were both going to miss the playoffs. So what do I got to be upset about? Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says the Chiefs were done when Taylor Swift entered the fray. Rude. They have won a Super Bowl since she started dating Travis Kelce. So no, nice try though. Hater. Brent writes in. He says, good day to you, Ron. I was going to ask how your weekend went, but sounds like you and vehicles are at odds with each other. Listen, I might as well get into it. I'll get into it now. From the audience, way more viewer takeover later on, but here's the thing. I'm historically cheap. I'm originally a farmer, and to me, there's a difference between what you want and what you need. So I have a very nice, probably the most beautiful, I regularly am told that, most beautiful Jeep in South Florida. It's gold. It's kind of a pewtery gold with a snorkel pipe exhaust. It's really cool. People comment on it almost every day. That's my vehicle here. That's my primary vehicle, my pride and joy. In Canada, I just have a bucket of bolts vehicle that I only drive when I'm in Canada in the summer. And as you know, last summer I had the vehicle through Western Dodge, which was great all summer. Thank you, Western Dodge. Well, I was coming up there last week for a week. I'm like, I'll just drive my bucket of bolts. It's not a big deal. We don't need to get a good vehicle. I had nothing but problems with it. And all week, so I ended up getting a rental. And let's just say the Saturday night that I was speaking in my hometown with the Grey Cup winning head coach and former Chicago Blackhawks head coach Lauren Mulliken, I had issues with it, but got it boosted. It was a cold night. And a couple of people said, you need an upgrade. And I'm like, what am I going to go get a brand new vehicle? I only live here 3 months a year. Week later in Lanigan, same thing. Suffices to say, we're done with that vehicle. And it has an X-rated nickname that I would tell you here, but I was warned the one time that I didn't mention on the air what its nickname is. You can't say that. So it's done. So the weekend was fantastic. The week was fantastic in Canada. Who wouldn't love Canada? When I stepped off the plane in Toronto Pearson Airport, or walked out of the airport in Toronto 2 Fridays ago, on my way up there, it was cold, but I was like, hockey weather. I just got excited. When you're in Toronto, there is a vibe with the hockey team. Montreal has it too, but I feel like Toronto's is a lot higher, and there's really nowhere else like it. Even in Canada, just hockey weather gets me excited. South Florida, I love a lot, which reminds me, I get back home and I got a Jeep on a flat tire on said Jeep. But I'm frankly sitting there going, there's a lot of people dealing with a hell of a lot worse than this. We'll be fine. 902-518-3033 is the text line to reach us here for Western Dodge. So as I posted to my social media accounts, at Rod Peterson Official on Instagram, love where you are. Be where your feet are. I wrote, actually put a photo up. Love where you are. And that way, you'll have a beautiful life. And that's what I'm enjoying. And by the way, Tony is watching in the Bridge City, and he wanted to know why I changed the jerseys over my shoulder. So I might as well just say it right now. With all due respect to the Vegas viewers on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, it's only because Tampa's visiting the Leafs tonight. It's the Monday night game on Amazon Prime. Oh, my God, you guys got me way off my grid of trying to stay on track here, but that's okay. People like the stories. So as I was flying home on Sunday, went through Denver, that was the connecting hub, and there were 3 farmers in the line, and they all knew who I was. So they said they were going to Tampa Bay, and I was coming here to Fort Lauderdale, and they're like, we love your show, Rod. We love watching it every day, but it's up against Overdrive on TSNs, which I didn't even know that, but whatever. I don't care. Which is another thing that I posted. You can't compete with me because I want you to win too. I want everybody to have success. I know it's rare, but I do. But I do know that your TV can only be on one show at a time. I get that. But these farmers said, when we get tired of the Toronto talk, we flip over to you. They go back and forth. And I'm like, I totally get that. So it's not, our long-time television partner in Canada is Game Plus TV. It's anchored in Toronto. They're all Leaf fans. We're not anti-Toronto. It's funny because I wrote this down in my notes here. Analytics was a note that I had way, way, way back in a land prior to this time with another production company, which we won't name right now, producer Corey. We're with Corey now at Skycrom, but with our past one, it was fun. They used to come out at the end of every show digitally and track all the ratings, and they're like, the highest growing region for our viewership is Ontario. Makes no sense. We don't ever talk about the Leafs. They're like, we should talk more Leafs. And I'm like, no, we shouldn't. They love our show because we're not talking about the Leafs. Leave it to me. So that's where I stand on analytics. I would never, ever, ever allow analytics to run my business. So anyways, that when you get I can only speak for those 3 farmers, but as they say, when they get tired of the Toronto talk, they switch on our show, which I get it. John Ohm writes in and he says, Overdrive is a different show. It has a purpose. It has a purpose. I prefer this. I don't even know what it is. They're all good guys. I know all those guys. Jeff O'Neill, Brian Hayes, known them for years. They're great guys, but we ain't going to be talking about what they're talking about. And with regards to my old vehicle, I like old vehicles. The problem with old vehicles is they're old. So when you drive a Jeep, here, my Jeep is an 04 Jeep Wrangler. If it needs parts, they got them by noon. Every fourth vehicle in South Florida is a Jeep. Come here sometime. Very easy to get repairs. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he says, I thought the old bucket of bolts was named Big Bird. No, everybody thinks that. I had a 1975 Jeep CJ because I'm a Jeep guy, but was not going to drive that in the winter, for the love of God. And number two, I sold it. When I came to Florida, that Jeep was sitting in my brother's barn, literally, and it was there for like 2 years. It was a yellow Jeep CJ, military grade. And I just said, you know what? I love this Jeep enough that it deserves to be driven. So I sold it. I put it out, Facebook Marketplace. Who wants a beautiful antique Jeep, mint? The guy paid double what I was asking for. He went to a good home. So no, it was not Big Bird, my 1975 Jeep CJ. What are we doing today, by the way? It's 11 minutes past the hour. See what I say? Visualize a positive outcome. I had all these vehicle issues, but I got home. I'm home in South Florida. I survived. I had a lot of great people help me out. That's what I'm grateful for. That's all. I'm like, a lot of people are dealing with a lot more serious problems than this. To the National Hockey League. This is only the second point. There's no way we're getting through 6 in this segment, but the Winnipeg Jets and Montreal Canadiens will be heading back outdoors next season. The NHL announced Saturday the teams will face off in the 2026 Tim Hortons NHL Heritage Classic at Winnipeg's Princess Auto Stadium. The event, set for October 25th, 2026, marks the league's 8th Heritage Classic and first since 2023. I love how the leagues, and specifically the NHL, tracks these types of games. They call them tent pole events. They're marquee games. Winnipeg will host its second outdoor showcase after falling to the Edmonton Oilers at the home of the CFL's Blue Bombers in October of 2016. The Jets are 1-1 all-time in regular season outdoor games. Winnipeg defeated the Calgary Flames in overtime at the 2019 Heritage Classic at Mosaic Stadium in Rahena. I was there. That will probably be the title of my 4th book. I've written 3. Whenever I do my memoirs, it'll be I was there, which the French translation of that is J'étais là. I was there. That was so great. Mosaic Stadium was like a snow globe. I wasn't going to go to the game. I had a friend with the Jets say to me, no, you got to go. This isn't just a hockey game. This is an event. He was right. I'm so glad I went. Montreal, by the way, which will skate in their 5th outdoor game and first in 9 years, are 2-2 all-time in the elements. Montreal defeated Edmonton in the 2003 Heritage Classic in the Alberta capital. Feel like we all remember that one. People froze their knickers off in that one. And they fell to the Flames in Calgary in 2011. I think you remember that one too. These are special things. And this year's Heritage Classic, well, I get mixed up. Jamie Thomas is joining us next from Winnipeg Jets, their official podcast, and Jets TV host. Jamie Thomas can speak about this next. If I have this right, because I've only been following the NHL on the full-time beat here for 5 years, and I'm a little slow on the uptake. Too many pucks off the old melon, but I believe it's the Winter Classic in America and Heritage Classic in Canada. But Jamie Thomas can sort that out. It's very exciting. And for our Vegas viewers, I was talking to a Vegas football guy a couple of weeks ago about this, and I said, is that Allegiant Stadium got a retractable roof? I'm like, I've been there, but I can't remember. I wasn't looking up. He's like, no, it's a dome. No retractable roof. And I said, what about Sam Boyd Stadium, home of the Rebels? He's like, condemned. I didn't even know that UNLV Incidentally, the best football team in Las Vegas was playing all of their home games at Allegiant Stadium this year. I didn't even know that. But he said Sam Boyd Stadium won't be hosting any outdoor hockey games or any football games for that matter. That's unfortunate. They got to find a way. Well, they will. They'll find a way for there to be an outdoor game in Vegas somehow. I mean, again, I came here 5 years ago. There was nothing but a dream of the Florida hockey people that there would be an outdoor classic. And we got two. Miami and Tampa Bay coming up in the new year. So we'll get into all of this with Jamie Thomas from the Winnipeg Jets when we return. You're watching on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 states and across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We'll be right back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs Guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The hottest RP Show merch is just one click away. Visit rodpeterson.com. Click on RP Store. We got shirts, we got hoodies, we got mugs, T-shirts, hats, you name it. Look at this. Look at this guy. Jamie Thomas joining us from the Winnipeg Jets. What's going on, brother?
Well, the Winnipeg Jets just got off the ice, Rod, following a first practice back since Saturday, which was not fun. I think you look back at what happened there after the Jets have seemed like kind of turn a corner. They had a team meeting after the loss in Buffalo. That was on Monday. Then Wednesday, they play a much better game in Montreal, right? So they come out of there with a point. And then Friday, much better against Buffalo in the return match. They win 3-1, get 2 goals from their fourth line, and it looks okay. But then you roll into Edmonton, and listen, you've had enough people on the show. You've had enough players. You've talked to enough people. The schedule does catch up to many people, and it should never be an excuse. But playing Winnipeg on Friday and then flying into Edmonton and playing Saturday night probably didn't help them very much. But the major focus of this hockey team, buddy, has been the first 10 minutes of the game, and it has been substandard for quite some time. And they're down 3-0 after 7.5 minutes. So yesterday off, they travel back home. They get back on the ice, ready to start a 4-game homestand. And I was talking to Louis DeBrusque on Saturday, and he's like, the Jets are kind of in the same place the Oilers were 2 weeks ago. They're tired. They haven't had a whole lot of time practicing. So maybe this 4-game homestand with a day between games will help them get out of whatever it is they're in right now, because it's been way different than last year. I think we've been spoiled the last couple of years. They were such a wagon for a big chunk of last year and certainly the year before that. And they're just trying to find that magic once again.
Well, I was going to ask you, how are things in Winnipeg? I was like, But let me put a smile on that beautiful face and just talk about the Heritage Classic. That to me came out of nowhere. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I probably about 5 years ago, I was because of the 2019. Anyways, I would say about 10 years ago, you're getting tired of the outdoor games. But until you go to one, and I heard you just talk about this a little while ago, your friends saying you got to go. I would tell anybody, if they have the opportunity, you have to go, because it's a stunning event to go to, just from a sightline perspective. You constantly hear players say going back to their roots, and I don't know, players are getting younger and younger now. I don't know how many kids actually play outdoors nowadays. But man, for the older guys like Adam Lowry and stuff like that, it's just like a return to their younger years. And spoke with Scott Arniel on Saturday before the game, just about, you remember running home from school and putting on the skates and racing out to the old shack to put your skates on and to stay outside for 2 hours. It's just such a cool sight line. And especially the way that game ended. Winnipeg hadn't scored a goal in the outdoor game in like 5.5 periods, because they were shut out here in 2016. They were losing 1-0 to Flames in the third period, and Josh Morrissey scores a power play goal. And of course, Brian Little goes on to score the overtime winner. That was like Brian Little's second to last NHL goal, because we had no idea what was going to follow after that. But man, I think, with Princess Auto Stadium being the sight line for it, I'm very excited, and for that to be the Montreal Canadiens here, it will be really fantastic. And hoping at some point maybe there'll be some alumni here from the 2.0 era, and we'll see how that goes. But it was a great announcement. Came at a interesting time. But hopefully people look focused on that and the positive that's coming out of that, out of what's going to come from the outdoor game.
I'm exactly with you. And by the way, it was Munzie, and Munzie's never steered me wrong. He was like, you got to go to this. And I'm so glad that I did. Right. So there won't be any problem selling this out. Right.
No. I mean, they don't have problems selling out the Bombers game, so I don't see how they have any problems selling this game, because it's an event. It's special. Adam Lowry said, like, you look forward to the gear that you're going to get. It is, it's hard to think of what excites players nowadays, but it doesn't matter how old you are. New equipment is always fun, and a different looking jersey. Who knows? Maybe they'll wear the Heritage again. I don't know, but we'll have to see how that goes. Like, we all love new equipment. Doesn't matter how old we are, what era we're from. But that part's going to be amazing. But it's it's easy to be excited about this now, but I think there's more of a focus of, especially from the players, of trying to right the ship right now before the Christmas holidays.
Hey, I get it, and I think
I appreciate that. I love how you went positive though, buddy, because it's a struggle for the positive train right now here in the Manitoba capital.
And trust me, I'm getting to that. But you and I, we deduced, like the last time you were on, that we're the exact same age. So we come from an era when you got new gloves and skates, it was like pulling on a Cindercrete block and putting your foot in a Cindercrete block. Now it comes broken in. That's not fun.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, half the fun was like your feet killing afterwards, and you remember you used to do skate-a-thons and how much your feet would kill after those. I don't think these guys have to worry about that anymore, man. This is the technology nowadays is crazy. I still have the same pair of skates I've had since I was like 29 years old, because I am not going out to spend $400 on a pair of skates so I can skate once or twice a year.
No, those come broken in too, though. But you're right.
Yeah.
But our feet were like one big blister, and it wasn't a great time. But looking back, it was amazing. But listen, I'm going to ask you a question.
It was the best of times.
You can handle it. You're a veteran broadcast. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. You're from Cochrane, Alberta, right?
Yep.
I'm going to ask you who you cheered for growing up, and I say that because I'll let you think about it.
Which team, buddy?
Right. Just hang on. Because Bill Lindsay said to me at a recent Panthers game, he's like, "Who's your team?" And I said, "Well, I live here, so I guess the Panthers." He's like, "No, really? Like growing up, who was your team?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "The Oilers, the Oilers." Until the day they traded Wayne. Now you've had a few minutes. What's your politically correct answer on who you cheered for?
Hey, I tell people here all the time. So I grew up in Cochrane, Alberta, like you just said. So I'm not cheering for the Winnipeg Jets. I'll tell you that. And I was not cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. My parents had season tickets to the Calgary Flames, but I'm still internally a huge Philadelphia Flyers fan. So this is I love Bobby Clark's my favorite player. Of course, when Eric Lindros was traded to the Flyers, one of the happiest days of my life for my my early 20s, I should say. And like until I started getting into the business, you don't cheer for them as much because you're not getting paid by them. I love this organization, but man, I was a huge Flyers fan growing up. I will never hide that. It's they won a Stanley Cup. They won their Stanley Cups before I was too young to remember them. And they've been to numerous Stanley Cup finals since. Still waiting for that, but I was a Flyers fan through and through my childhood.
I'll tell you what. One of my guys here is Jeff Chikrin. I'll get him to sign a Philly thing for her. I'll give you the next time I see you. I'll give it to you. Chick is a great
the terms. Yeah,
Flyer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the other great thing is though, it's easy to cheer for the Panthers because they're such unbelievable people, and you've told me that about the Jets. It's you never left Winnipeg because they treat you so well.
Right, and that's what I mean. You're around these guys so much that and then from the top to bottom, ownership, management, scouts. So you become part of the family in some ways. I'm not best friends with the players, of course, because I'm too old to be their best friend, anyways. But it's as an organization, you're happy when they're happy. Good people like Mark Chipman, you want them to succeed. You want good things to happen for them because they've been so kind and so great. And, they've allowed me to have a great career, especially the last part of this, the last 7 or 8 years. So of course I want the Winnipeg Jets to win because I love the people that I work for. So it's really that simple, my friend.
Yeah. And I don't know that I would hope the fans realize that. But here, listen, I'm totally off track, and I will get to the current Jets. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying with Paul Maurice, like they were in last place. I'm not sure if they still are or not, but last week they were. And a lot of the fans are jumping off the bandwagon here because they're new fans. And I'm like, how could you not believe in Paul Maurice, one? And two, how could you cheer against or turn on or jump off his bandwagon? He's the greatest guy.
Right. I agree with you. There's a lot of another thing too is like in Florida they've been spoiled because Tampa and Florida have been so good for so long, and anytime you slip off that high standard that you've set, and I'll say that even here, people get impatient. But I remember Paul used to always say the other team gets paid too. It's not easy to win in the NHL, man. Like it's the fine line between winning and losing is very small. And there's a lot of teams. There's 31 other teams in the league. There's a lot of young teams that are coming up right now, like Anaheim and San Jose, and it's an exciting time that way. So when you're a veteran team like the Jets, like it's a little bit harder. But there's enough guys in this dressing room that have done this before, that remember the tough times before they started winning again. I just don't see how they don't turn this around. It's not going to be easy, mind you, and then not having the Vezina Trophy winner and the Hart Trophy winner in your net, and this is no knock to Eric Comrie or Thomas Milic, and now they've recalled Dominic DiVincentis. He's just that good. And when you're having a tough time defending the way the Jets are, the Connor Hellebuck is the magic elixir, and I don't think I'm hurting anybody's feelings by saying that. So they've got to find a way to hold water here until he gets back, and hopefully get that defensive structure down that has been so imperative to their success over the last 3 years.
Well, that is my next question, but I'll say one last thing. I think we were all watching when Palmo won his first cup, and he looked in his camera and said, "I want the next team to win to be the Winnipeg Jets." Your boy Hustler, I saw him the next summer. Hustler's like, we're all thinking, did did he really mean that? And then going into last year's playoffs, I'm like, what if you actually meet in the Stanley Cup final? You still feel that way, Paul? But anyways, I digress. When we go to this year's Jets, dude, you mentioned the Buffalo game. I watched that. That was Amazon Prime. I was in Moose Jaw last week. I'm like,
right.
Oh my God, are the Jets?
I know.
In
that moment, it's like you just watch it. Yeah, you're like, I don't know if it would be rock bottom, man. Like I just like, there's so many ways that they can fix this, but it's not like, so they're not sitting there going, when you hear a player or coach go, I don't know what's wrong, then there's like concern. But they don't, no one said that, right? I think everyone understands what the challenge has been and why they are not winning as much as they have. First off, the scoring is completely dried up outside the top line. That's not a recipe for success for anybody. And believe me, they are trying every avenue. They're trying every line combination possible to get this turn around the corner. And it's not easy not having Adam Lowry for the first 17 games. He's just getting up to speed. I think the kind of the monkey in the room, the elephant in the room is what is going on with Jonathan Toews. And I like to temper people's expectations because the guy didn't play for 2 years. And I think we all expected him to come out and have 60 points and help them, dominate the league. I think that's unfair. So I think he's slowly getting there, and it's just a matter of time. But I think everyone has, and I think for sure the organization is being patient about it. So it's a tough time, but it's not like it's a young team. They don't know how to turn this around. They have all the answers. They just have to execute, and that's and then maybe this homestand hopefully gets things turned around, because now that's that practice time I was talking about that they haven't had. When things are going bad and you can't practice because of the compressed schedule, again, not an excuse, it's a reason. That this is kind of stuff that you're hoping will turn a corner because of your time at home here with 4 games in a row.
Yeah, I'll get to the viewer comments in a second. We don't have Jimmy Thomas for much longer,
sure.
And I got once you're gone, they have to do with other teams and so forth. But thank you, Troy, for tuning in from the Chicago airport while we're talking here. He loves it. Great show today. Thanks for doing. Thank you, Troy. You're the best. Safe travels, by the way. But listen, Winnipeg, I've told you this, is our number 2 city for viewership. So I follow a lot of your fans and what they're saying, and it's like they talk about Hellebuck, that he covered up a lot of problems that they didn't know were there until he was gone. Do you buy into that?
But isn't it what every great goaltender is supposed to do? Like when you're not on your game, isn't that what goaltenders are supposed to do? So it is. I will say this: like it is tough to replace Nikolai Ehlers. It's Mason Appleton brought a certain product whenever he was on that third line with Adam Lowry and Niederreiter. That third line isn't driving play like it used to. But I think that's a product of Adam Lowry recovering from a hip surgery, not fully up to where we're used to seeing him. So I understand people's concern, but it's all about defending too. Like the defending has not been as good and airtight as it has been in years past. So I don't know if even Connor Hellebuck could save it, but you certainly see the value and understand. Not that people didn't see it before. It's just rare to have a goaltender of that stature on your team, because there's probably like 9 or 10 of them in the entire league. And Connor Hellebuck is one of them, and he's a hard guy to replace. Doesn't matter how great Eric Comrie's been, and he was great in Montreal. He was tremendous against Buffalo on Friday. But when you just saw when you don't play defense that well, and Edmonton's all over you early with 97 and 29, it's hard to win hockey games. It doesn't matter who the goaltender is.
Yeah, well, and again, the Sabres game was not a good example, but I was like, it wouldn't matter who was in goal. It wouldn't matter.
And that's
who
been
was
the
in
focus,
goal.
Rod. It's been the first 10 minutes. Like Arnie said that on Saturday night after the game. The focus has been the first 10 minutes of the hockey game. And he's been, that's been the constant message. And then 7 minutes in, you're down 3-0 in Edmonton. So clearly that's not getting through, or the execution isn't there. So I believe this homestand is extremely critical, and I'm being Captain Obvious when I say that. But you've got like Dallas, you've got Boston, who has been unbelievable this year. You got Washington on Saturday. You got Ottawa on Monday. So it's the schedule is hectic, and the schedule is getting a little more high standard in terms of the opponents the Jets are playing. But sometimes you need those high opponents to get your game to a level that you want to get it to.
Well, a couple things, then I'll let you go. You mentioned Ehlers.
Yep.
That's another thing I've seen from your fans. They're like, we didn't realize how important this guy was.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, did they just couldn't afford him? Did he want to leave Winnipeg? Like, have you guys been back scratching your head as to how that was allowed to happen? Was he going to stay?
Yeah.
How hard did they try to keep him?
Yeah, Chevy was honest about it. They tried everything they could to keep him, but I think in some ways, Nikolai wanted an opportunity to go somewhere else, right? So I'm not speaking for him. That's just what I think. It's obviously the Jets have been so good, Rod, at keeping their core players, and Nikolai Ehlers was a big part of their core. They drafted him, they developed him, they helped turn him into the player that he is today. So sometimes people want a fresh start somewhere. And maybe that's the real reason behind all of this. I don't think anyone should ever look at the Jets and go, they didn't try and keep Nikolai Ehlers. They did. There was in constant conversation with Nick's agent throughout the whole process. It just didn't work out. So when you're not winning, it's easy to go, hey, they should have kept this guy. They should have kept that guy, not brought this guy in. Let's see how this all transpires when we'll talk in April about the whole thing, but it has been a challenge. Nikolai Ehlers was a big part of their number one power play unit. He forces defense to back off because of his speed, and there's no question about all the times he brought fans in this building out of their seat. He's a very hard guy. There's not many Nikolai Ehlers in the league, period. So I can understand why fans are, looking back and then go, maybe they should have tried a little bit harder. But you got to look at the money that you have to give Kyle Connor. There's some pretty big salaries in this team right now. Sometimes it doesn't work out. So let's just see how this whole season shakes out before we can all sit there and say, you should have kept this guy or that guy. Yeah.
That's why it's great to have guys like you on the air to answer these questions and straighten things out.
Yeah.
And the one thing is we have less than 2 minutes here, the producer says, but you can't fool Jets fans. I don't envy you. They know the game.
No.
You can't fool them. Right? Here you can fool them in Florida. Trust me, you can.
Right.
There,
super easy. Yeah. And that's the best part of it because, and I'll say this too, I was talking to Dean Chanel, obviously, Dean from his days in the Western Hockey League playing, and his dad, of course, the biggest name in the Western Hockey League. You look at, how things are going right now, it could change at any moment too, right? So it's just, we'll have to see. Jets fans, Dean did say this. He said, lots of fans in Canada are passionate, but he said Winnipeg Jets fans are compassionate. And there's a great example, Adam Lowry, when he was recovering from his hip surgery, he said, you would not believe how many times people came out to me and go, how's the hip doing? Right? It's not, you're terrible. It's like, how's the hip doing? So as passionate as they are, compassionate too, they understand things a little pretty well. And it's not like they're mean. They just have, there's expectations here because of what this team has built over the past 3 years. And so I can understand why they're a little upset because of how good they've been the last 3 years, buddy. And there was expectations they're going to be a top 3 team in the Central this year too. But, some tough times happen and you're just going to have to wait through it. And I think Jets fans are smart enough to realize this is just a little bump in the road for them.
Yeah. Well, and you got good people running the show. They've done a great job. So
sure
trust
do.
them.
Yeah.
Hey, say hey to Chinny for me. I'd love to see his face when you have a spare moment at dead time. Just say, hey, Rod Peterson said, I'd love to know what his face is. Thank you, Jamie. Great job.
Okay, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, make sure you check out my podcast.
Oh, it's gone. Check out his podcast, the official Winnipeg Jets podcast. He's gone, but follow him on Twitter. You can find it there. We'll be right back.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. And as I said, a couple things. Wonderful chat with Jamie Thomas. And as he says, Winnipeg Jets fans are the most compassionate in the NHL, quoting Dean Chenault. I would say the same, Jets assistant coach. And I was thinking on the weekend, I was looking at our numbers and ratings in Canada and, you know, my hometown, Regina, number one for viewership, but number two, Winnipeg. And right there close is Saskatoon. Winnipeg is that. They're a great place. I get them. They get me. Special people. And, but I'll say about Taves, when they signed him in the summertime, if you've been watching this show, which so many of you have, at the time I said, what's going to happen if this doesn't go well, if he's not the Jonathan Taves that won 3 Stanley Cups? And the Winnipeg people I had on, the media, like Jamie, said, well, they'll be okay. And I think they are okay. But let's just remember, I didn't expect the same guy. I didn't. So we'll see. Digital Dean is watching in Green Bay. He says, happy Victory Monday, RP fam. Great Packers-Bears game Sunday. Nice to see the rivalry games matter more. Will be a good rematch in 2 weeks. #GoPackGo. I have that coming up in our sports update here. But, Dean, you were the one that said Matt LaFleur was on the hot seat a couple weeks ago. That's why I can't listen to you people. I can't put any stock of what you say. I wish that I could, but I can't. Fans are fans. And the Pack looked all that. Troy from Toronto checks in, writes in. He says, I love that even when I'm traveling, I can tune into your show on YouTube. I'm at O'Hare and thought I might be stuck watching some other guy's show on ESPN. Great show today. Thanks for doing what you do. Thank you, Troy. And enjoy O'Hare. I'll tell you, I was there almost a year ago, and I was walking through the ticketing and the departures are the same vast hallway. And walking through there, I'm like, oh, my God, Home Alone. It's the first thing I thought, those big red ribbons and bows. I'm thinking Catherine O'Hare and John Candy. Yeah, enjoy O'Hare. Enjoy where you are. That's what I was saying earlier today. Then if you enjoy where you are, you'll enjoy your life. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Speaking of that, sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone. Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers shut up the folks calling for Mike Tomlin's departure for 1 week at least. The Packers and Jacksonville Jaguars defended their home turf and took over first place in their respective divisions. The Houston Texans moved another step toward a playoff berth while damaging the Chiefs' hopes. Week 14's biggest games didn't disappoint. Rodgers played his best game of the season, and the Steelers held on for a 27-22 victory in Baltimore to move a game ahead of the Ravens in the AFC North. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee's decision in 2025 has sparked controversy, but you knew it would. Notre Dame was dropped from the playoff despite not playing last week. Their August loss to Miami was cited as a key factor. Notre Dame's athletic director criticized the committee's inconsistent rankings. What did he say, by the way? I think he said it was an utter joke. He said it yesterday, but I was reading the quote this morning. I'm like, is he going to get fined for that? Can you get fined? He probably won't. Alabama made the playoff despite losing to Georgia in the SEC title game Saturday. This raises questions about the relevance of conference championship games. Meanwhile, Tulane and James Madison made the field, but their chances seem slim of winning it all. And 8 NBA teams are competing for the NBA Cup and a chance to head to Las Vegas for the semifinals. The Oklahoma City Thunder also have a shot at history. Quarterfinal games are set for Tuesday and Wednesday with Miami facing Orlando, New York taking on the Raptors, Phoenix playing Oklahoma City, and San Antonio taking on the Lakers. If the Thunder beat the Suns, they'll tie Golden State for the best 25-game start in NBA history. So, yeah, we're following it, just not maybe talking about it a lot. That is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. I saw somebody wrote into our Facebook page, again, 1.7 million views last month alone, not a big deal, saying Ultimate Fan Zone is Disneyland for adults. I agree. I used to say that about Hooters, but I don't anymore. That's reserved for the Ultimate Fan Zone. And by the way, Jamie Thomas telling us to check out his Ground Crew podcast, Winnipeg Jets official podcast. The most recent one has Dean Chanel on it with some great dub stories. We'll be coming right back with Overtime, everybody, here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and, of course, across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Peterson Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Peterson Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Peterson Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Peterson Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Yes, we are Canadians on this program and darn proud of it. Are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Maybe have a team party, an office party, a birthday party, a Christmas party? They can do it all. But the main thing is state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, the ultimate training destination for hockey players of all ages and skill levels. Check them out at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You know, the odd thing here is, as much as it felt like we've been off-roading, we've stayed pretty much on point. Our two main topics today are the Kansas City Chiefs done? And 87% of you saying, yes, they're done. The dynasty's over. They had a good run. I thought this when they got motorboated, speed bagged in the Super Bowl last year. I can see things. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, your old stories and interactivity is why I watch this show. Nobody else does this. No, they don't. And that's, just imagine sending a note to the guy talking to you on the television or on your screen, and he actually answers you. That's what we do here every day. Brent writes in, Brent Patrician, where are you at, Brent? Would you let me know? He says, there's not a vehicle made anywhere that can stand Saskatchewan winters for too many years. Here's the odd thing. And please write me in by the end of the show. We got only about 4 minutes. I came to Florida done with the winter. And the wildest thing is, and for those that just tuned in, I had vehicle problem pretty much all week in Saskatchewan last week. It wasn't really a weather problem. It was more a vehicle problem, but it was damn cold Saturday night. I.e., if you're stranded on the side of the road, you'd freeze to death. That's how cold it is there right now, or at least it was Saturday night. But here, a couple summers ago, that's why I made the decision to get out of Florida in the summer. I have the best life in the world. Summer in Canada, 9 months in Florida. But I'm driving my Jeep. It was so bloody hot, like ridiculously hot, sick hot. So hot, it'd make the devil cry. And I pulled up to a red light, and all of a sudden my rad just exploded. Rad coolant everywhere, and it was just disgusting. And the heat, it's just as bad hot as the cold is cold. I'm like, where's perfect? I don't know. But as they say, so many Floridians that aren't from here say, well, we had to make a choice between the cold or the heat. Clearly we'll take the heat. Where is this hater? He's not really a hater, but WHL 1986 is the account. Somewhere in here he wrote, and he says, your idea of a hot team and mine are different, Roddy. Tampa Bay is, here it is. Roddy, you and I have different definitions of hot teams, as the Lightning have lost 3 straight. You obviously read my newsletter. They've won 7 of their last 10 games at Tampa Bay Lightning, and motored their way into the top 5 as of the writing of that column. Oh, so are you a Leaf fan? We'll see what the Lightning do tonight in Toronto on Amazon Prime. Very much looking forward to the game. It's funny. Arlen Bruce writes in and says, 2-time Grey Cup champion, former Kansas City Chief, says, RP, serious question. Does Mahomes retire as a Chief? Also, will Coach Andy Reid be on the hot seat? He probably won't retire as a Chief. How many guys do? Like none. We will put him in the Favre category, I would think, the Aaron Rodgers category. I think about this all the time because Troy Aikman's my guy. And people were saying, is Mahomes the best ever? This is when he had 1 Super Bowl. And Troy was like, talk to me when he's got 3. Now he's got 3. But I don't think he's getting another one. Troy's got 3, so. But it's pretty rare for guys to play, as you know, AB, you didn't, your entire career with one team. Because it usually ends bad. And it ended really bad for Troy in Dallas, but he wasn't going to play anywhere else. Patrick Mahomes, is he 30? I could go to the big board, but I'm too lazy. He's got a lot of years left. And yeah, eventually Andy Reid's going to get on the hot seat. It doesn't matter that you won. Bill Belichick was in the hot seat in New England at the end. It didn't matter that he'd won 6. Come on, AB, you know the answers to these. Brent says, born and raised, still living in Saskatoon. Thank you, Brent. Appreciate you. I ask because we've got the sports doctor, Dave Patrician, who comes on from Winnipeg, and I thought maybe you were a Winnipegger. Nah. Mark writes in, the beekeeper from Melfort. Appreciate you watching. He says, it may be cold here, but there's no mosquitoes this time of year. We got that one and the whole, but it's a dry cold. Oh, I just heard that from producer Corey last week. Classic vehicles. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hi, Rod. I used to drive a 1969 Dodge Cornet RT with a 440 Magnum during the summer months. Miss that car. I miss my 1975 Jeep CJ, but I'm not really attached to things anymore. It was fun driving it, but now I get to do it here with an 04 Jeep Wrangler. We were talking about analytics earlier, and it's a show that could or a topic that could take up hours. Laverne writes in from the Frontier City. He says, analytics, look what that did for Kyle Dubas when he was the Leafs GM. Yeah, but he still has a job, and he's doing good things with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just saying. 5 games in the NHL tonight, so please enjoy responsibly. The Vegas Golden Knights aren't playing, but I feel like the game of the night is very clearly in Toronto. Scruffy and I both took the Lightning. Please, Leaf fans, don't write in here crying because we didn't take your team. Don't worry about it. Scott in Vancouver says that Houston defense is pretty damn good. Yes, but as I think they're still not in a playoff spot despite their 5-game win streak. But the most fun times coming up in the next few weeks. Thanks to Jamie Thomas. Thanks to all of you for tuning in today. We'll do it all again tomorrow with some special guests. And that's all. Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
That.